All right, hello guys. I'm here with Michelle Friedman, the self-care coach. Michelle, tell us a little bit about what you do.
Okay, hi everyone. I help people with their self-care issues. In other words, helping them to become clutter-free. Stress management, time management is another very big issue. Setting boundaries, learning to say no, learning to let go of the past and of issues that have happened in the past. Those are the main issues that I work with clients. There are obviously a lot of other things that come into it, such as self-esteem, lack of self-confidence, maybe relationship issues, all those kind of things that come into it.
Got it. So last time we talked, you told me that you brought up a couple of things. Like you tried to hire someone to build your website, and it didn't go well because they didn't understand your brand. And now you're kind of working on rebranding and reshaping everything. And
Right.
I wanted you to share your experience about rebranding in general. Like what's it like to have to rebrand your coaching business, and then B, like lessons that you've learned from maybe hiring someone who doesn't understand your brand, and how what you've learned from that, and what you plan on doing going forward.
Okay. Well, the thing that I've learned about since I started doing life coaching as a business and not just for the fun of it or to help others out, is that people need to understand who you are and what you actually do. And the point of it really is the most important thing, I think, is getting the correct message out there. So that is vital. I came from a totally different background before I did coaching. I was doing teaching, and technology wasn't part of what I did on a daily basis, and therefore I would even define it as being technologically challenged, for want of a better way of phrasing it. Mm-hmm. So in order to get going quickly and to move forward as quickly as possible, I hired somebody who said that she had a social media background, had been in marketing for many years, knew what she was doing and everything like that, and I could relate to her, and we could sit and talk. She was available at all times, which was very important, and so I hired her. But she came from a high-tech background and didn't really understand what exactly is life coaching. Mm-hmm. So, and also, I think I was probably one of her first clients, if not her first client. Mm-hmm. As a result is from the marketing she did for me, she certainly got my name out there, but I ended up spending a fortune of money on a logo, and the logo wasn't really talking to getting the message that I wanted out there. So that was a very big factor. She chose to use different photographs for things like the website, for Facebook page, for my LinkedIn page. So I've got all these different pictures sitting all over it there, and nothing is gelled together or branded together as such that actually people see me or see my logo or see something to do with me. And after 5 years of living with this and everything like that, the website she did was also today it's extremely outdated. And so I needed to work a way to move myself forward. So I realized that she was not the right person for me because she didn't understand what is life coaching. She's the kind of person that, show her an actual product and she can market it beautifully.
Yes.
But show her something that's a little bit ambiguous in her mind, she doesn't get it. So therefore I realized one very, very important factor. If you're going to get somebody to do your marketing for you, or you're going to get somebody to handle the technology side for you, where maybe simply putting links in or learning how to do a landing page, or putting on your products that you may have or your courses that you may have, and doing the technical aspect of it, then it doesn't matter who you use as long as they are good at what they do. But when it comes to actually helping you with your content writing, with the actually where to put your material out there, whether it be the blogs or your quotes or whatever it may be in the way of doing that, it's essentially important that you get somebody who really understands what is life coaching, who's either done coaching themselves or been in a coaching session of some kind and fully understands what it's about.
Right. I had a similar experience where, and I think this is a lesson that everyone really needs to learn is, hiring, making sure that you have the right fit when you're hiring, especially if it has to do with kind of content and forward facing stuff. I had the same problem.
Yeah.
I hired someone who was technically skilled in marketing, but like had a master's degree and whatnot, but didn't really understand the like I help life coaches, and he doesn't understand what life coaches are and like what they do really. And it's really hard to explain that, and it just wasn't a good fit. And no matter how many technical skills that he had, like the most important thing is the fit.
Correct.
When you're hiring someone.
It's essentially, it's the same way as we look to see it with the clients, whether we are a good fit for them or whether they're a good fit for us. The same thing I think applies, and in fact maybe just as important as the person who's going to do your marketing on that. If you want just a simple thing of some kind of technology done for you in the way of, as I say, like a landing page or a link or something like that, then they can show you or do it themselves, do it for you. Anybody can do that. But when it comes to actually helping, as I say, with content, with where you should be on social media, whether you should be on Twitter, whether you should be on Instagram, or whether LinkedIn is really the right place for you, or, Facebook is the only place to be or not the place to be. Those are the important things, to have somebody who can really relate to what you do.
Totally agree. And they need to understand not only your content and like what you're kind of trying to get across, but also what who your clients are, what their needs are, and what they're challenged with. So important.
It may mean that you may need to be able to have somebody help you to define who is your target market.
Yeah, I mean, totally.
Because, once you can define that, then it helps you to get the message out, the correct message out, and the right name for yourself,
Exactly.
etc. All those things are vital.
Exactly.
And if somebody's not, if you're a new coach and you don't know these things, you're blundering in the dark.
Yeah, I totally agree. And, the benefit of hiring, by the way, just to put this conversation in perspective, if you haven't hired yet, the benefit is like we're only one people. Like we can't really do everything by ourselves.
Correct.
And so the benefit is, you hire someone and it helps you get 2 times as more done, or 3 times as more, or 5 times or 10 times as more, depending on how many people you hire, depending on what they're doing. So it can be extremely beneficial for drastically increasing your productivity and your ability to do things. But it's tricky to find the right person for the right projects, and that's always complicated.
Yeah, it's definitely a case of finding the people who specialize in our niches or specialize in life coaching and understand what it all is. Whether I think I've got lots of people who I'm in contact with in the networking group and other places that I go to, who are psychologists or therapists or counselors or whatever it is, and they're having the same issues. Because if you don't understand these things, people can't help you.
Right. You certainly can't create content about something that you don't understand. Yeah.
No.
So right now you are in the process of rebranding, and I want to know, what does that mean? And how are you going about this with this newfound knowledge that in the past you've hired the wrong person, and now you're realizing you're working on rebranding. What I want to know is what are you rebranding to, and what are you rebranding from, from what to what, and then how are you going about how are you going about doing that?
Okay, I'm very much at the beginning stages of it. So what I've done is, one of the first things I did was somebody who in marketing, if that wanted to rebrand, one of the first things to do is look at color psychology. What colors should you be getting out for the market that you're looking for? So she gave me a whole lot of questions to answer, which really has helped me from that point of view, because those are general marketing questions. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Target market, where you're finding them, et cetera, et cetera.
Pardon? Yeah.
General marketing questions like who's your target market, who's your ideal client, et cetera, et cetera.
Correct. And also, you know, sort of like understanding of the color psychology behind it and sort of things, you know, and I spent, you know, a good few hours looking at the different colors and what they mean, and you know, because there can be positives and negatives. For example, like blue can be very calming and relaxing and everything like that, but it could also mean like a bad mood and down in the dumps. So you've got to be careful of what sort of colors, and you can't just use blue. You've got to bring in another vibrant color of some kind that will lift it up, you know what I mean? Whether it be browns or yellows or oranges or purples or something along those lines, obviously depending on the market you are targeting to. So that is where I've got to, and now I'm sort of looking at the name and then of course the logo. I'm sort of like trying to do it step by step, you know, first the colors and then sort of like going for the name and the logo, and then I'll have to get professional photographs taken and choose, you know, one or two that I can use throughout all my marketing.
Gotcha.
And then I'll see from there whether I want to go onto, you know, I'm not on Instagram, I'm not on Twitter, or YouTube or any of those places yet. But I believe it's a process, you know, it's a journey that we go on. So it's doing it correctly and doing it slowly and finding the right people to do it for you. You know what I mean?
Right. Totally know what you mean. And you're being patient about like not jumping on Instagram and YouTube when you're not ready for it, but waiting for the right time to go on it. And in terms of like the actual messaging and positioning of your brand, aside from like the color scheme and like the logo and the website, like what is the messaging? Like I know you said you are a self-care coach, and is that like the new branding that you're going to, or is that like the old branding that you're refining, or what?
Well, the previous lady who did the marketing for me came up with the name of the calming coach, and this is like 4 years ago.
Right.
And on the one hand, I liked it because I loved the idea of the fact that it was calming, which is, you know, like making you stress-free and, you know, getting to places on time, so time management isn't an issue, etc., etc. So it kind of like did fit in with what I wanted to do and where I was going. However, I feel that it's not who I am today. It's not you know, congruent with who I am as a person and the kind of coaching that I do. And I need something that's more vibrant. I need something that's more catchy. I need something that is more that's strong, that will appeal to both men and women. Because it's interesting enough, you know, you think of self-care, okay, that's just for women, you know, like, you know, I'm a guy, I'm not going to get involved in this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, letting go and time management skills and stress management skills and organizational skills and being clutter-free, etc., apply to both. You know, it's not just one thing. And it's not just about the massages and the manicure.
Yeah, totally. I mean, so much to self-care. Yeah, beyond kind of the general, like, oh, go get a pedicure. It's like, there's so much more to it, you know, there's
correct.
A lot to it.
So I've got to find a way to get a strong message out there with a catchy name that really makes people think, oh, I know what she does and I understand where she's coming from. But it's got to appeal to both men and women. So it can't be too flowery and like balanced and beautiful or, you know, anything along those lines. But it can't be too masculine either. So it's got to be in between.
Yeah, gotcha.
Appeals to both.
Appeals to both. And so I guess did you end up hiring someone, a website designer or something?
I haven't yet. No.
Oh, okay.
I haven't yet. As I say, I'm very much at the beginning stages, and I'm sort of trying to understand the whole process. And not just diving into it and saying, okay, fine, I'll hire you and I'll get you to do it and you can do this and you can do that.
Right. Because you want to be more systematic about it and more like strategic about the choices that you're making, and then, you know, like not kind of jumping too fast into something.
No, and then, you know, not wasting money either, because, you know, a logo designer, I've had people in the past that have cost me a fortune.
Yeah, and
Uh,
honestly, you can create your own logo on Canva for like
correct,
$5, no dollars.
correct,
Um,
correct. So, you
so
know, once I've got the colors and I have an idea of the clarity on the name, then I can sort of like go into the logo. So it's like, it's the same way as I tell my clients to sort of like have a plan of action
yes,
and not
yes,
to just dive in. I've got to do this, practice what I preach. So it's
yeah,
step by step, going through the different plans and to achieve that goal, which is
right.
exactly what I can practice what I preach, but I don't have anybody to hold me accountable. So that's where I'm falling down.
Oh, I see. Okay. So as you as a coach need someone to hold you accountable as well.
Right,
Gotcha.
right.
Um, yeah, it's like, you know, the logo and the visuals are kind of like, that's the easy part. It's the hard part is like getting the messaging down and getting the whole positioning down and the intellectual framework of the brand. And then it's like it's just kind of filling in the dots after you have
Correct,
the idea down. So yeah, I
correct.
understand where you're coming from, and a lot of other coaches are in the same position. They're working on rebranding and kind of getting the framework right of like who exactly they want to target with extreme specificity, and then like what are they offering with that's going to be really compelling and unique and stand out. So a lot of coaches are in the same position, and I think the story that you shared here about who to hire and who not to hire, and like making sure you're kind of cautious and strategic about that, especially if you're having someone assist you with your branding. These are good lessons to learn, and I think a lot of other people,
Absolutely.
yeah. So yeah, I think that's a good way to unify this conversation, and we can wrap up there.